Hey guys, welcome to Rage Quit Rehab. We're going to be a podcast that talks about the nerd culture and also just whatever we feel like talking about. We're going to try and keep it mainly focused just on things that have happened within the past week or 2 weeks. For now, we're just going to try and keep it to about an episode every 2 weeks. And if we gather some type of fan base, we'll probably move it to a weekly thing. First, we're going to start. We have a set of about 5 to 6 hosts every week. It's going to range anywhere from 3 to 6 hosts on a weekly basis or on an episode basis. I'm Gabe. Now we're going to start from introducing ourselves, talking a bit about ourselves, and then we're going to move on to the segments.
Hello, my name is Manny, and yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yo, what's up, guys? My name is John. Sometimes my friends call me Bento. You'll hear me refer to both, or Bento Bra. I have a master's degree. I have a master's degree in clinical mental health counseling, so hopefully I can throw in some psychological shit in here. Otherwise, we're just going to keep it real, talk about some video games. Yeah, that's about it.
All right. Hey, guys. My name is Derek. I'm from Missouri and Dominican Republic, like a few of the hosts here. And a lot of times you'll probably hear me called as El Daddy, and that's about it.
Yo, my name's Shawnee Funny Man. I'm a Twitch streamer, even though I'm very small. I do stream a lot of the times, usually games that I'm playing. I am a trophy hunter, so I try to get platinums in most of the games I play.
Hey guys, my name is Lewis, last but not least. And excuse my friends and all their middle school giggling every time somebody says something that they don't really approve with. But for the most part, we're all just a group of guys. We have a very unique background, each of us, in terms of our video game experience and things that we do outside of gaming. So I hope you guys enjoy.
Yeah, guys, as Lewis said, we all come from a pretty diverse background. Just a bit about ourselves. Just in referencing if you guys hear us refer to different things, Derek and I are in medical, and John, as he said, has a degree in clinical psychology. Sean and Lewis both work outside of gaming, obviously. Lewis and I went to Penn State. We are, if there are any Penn State listeners, so we'll be referencing that stuff. But you guys will learn a bit about ourselves if you keep listening. So the first segment we're going to start with is D23. The Disney Expo took place this past weekend, and there were a few big drops, starting with a bit more information on the Spider-Man video game that Activision is going to make. We're going to comment on that. And obviously the biggest news coming out of D23, which was the drop of the Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer and a tentative release date finally for Kingdom Hearts 3. So not all of us watched D23, but for those of us that did, we had to suffer through some pretty awkward hosts. I wasn't familiar with them. Sean was, because as he mentioned in his introduction, he is a Twitch streamer. They were Strawberry, blonde girl, and Jacksepticeye, who I saw on Twitter has 3 million followers. So a lot of you are probably going to know him.
He's a big YouTuber.
But most of us weren't familiar with them. So yeah, like I said before, they were super awkward hosts. You could tell it was their first time.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, they were really awkward.
You could tell it was their first time probably hosting anything big. I saw the Strawberry girl on Twitter said that she was incredibly nervous for it. So, if you're hosting something that big, yeah, exactly. If you're hosting something that big, if it's your first gig like that, I don't know. I just feel like you probably shouldn't take that job if you're going to host something that big and you've never done it before, because like Sean said, her inexperience just shined through, and it made it took away from the whole event. Like literally, if that event hadn't had that Cage 3, that hosting would have taken away from it.
Yeah, but I feel it's like you could also have more opportunity for to expose yourself. Sorry.
That's true.
It did give them a stage to further their fan bases, because like you said, a lot of us didn't know them, but now we're aware of them, whether it be for good or bad reasons. We are aware of who they are. But like you said before, I don't think that was the proper way to expose yourself. Hashtag butt cheeks clench.
Manny, what do you think?
I agree with what you guys said, man. But I also think that there's no better way of learning.
That's true, but
That's true.
It's pretty difficult. In case you guys are wondering what the butt cheeks clinch reference is from, Star Wars Battlefront is going to feature a female protagonist, and they hired an actual actress, although I've never heard of her either, to be the lead protagonist. So they're going to have. If any of you guys have ever played LA Noire, they're gonna have that facial recognition technology where basically they can afford them to hire real actors or actresses, and they can pick up on the actual actors' facial expressions and stuff. So, the actors who played the main Sorry, go ahead.
No, didn't they also show about? Well, they showed a lot of Battlefront gameplay
at D23, yeah, they showed a lot about Star Wars Battlefront 2.
They did.
But they brought that actress on stage, and that when they asked her about a world, the world she was from in the Star Wars video game, Strawberry asked her about it. The actress then decided to go into character. She's supposed to play an intimidating character, I guess, and she tried to be intimidating. Her poor acting ability showed, and instead of just saying, "Oh, I'm intimidated" or something like that, Strawberry Girl was like, "My butt cheeks just clenched."
That whole
was the
thing was
absolute epitome of terribleness on that entire just display. It
Cringe.
just made you feel like you wanted to give exactly. Just made you feel like you wanted to go up and slap every person on the stage.
That's so true. Yeah.
I think it was Manny that said it while we watched it. He just wished that they just showed the videos and said, "This is the next game," and that's it. It didn't get any better from there. Even though butt cheeks clinch was the climax, it never really got much better.
The sad thing about that Star Wars game is like they made, for example, Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2 on PlayStation 2 were phenomenal. The class system and everything.
Yeah, they were.
And then when they put it on PlayStation 4, they took all of that away. It sucked. And now they're bringing it back as if it's a brand new thing.
I never actually played any of the Star Wars Battlefront, so I can't really comment on it. But the game.
I agree there.
Oh, did anyone else ever play Star Wars Battlefront?
No.
I played the first one on Xbox.
I never played any of them. Maybe here or there I picked up a controller and played it, but never dedicated myself to any of the games.
I watched a lot of it.
Yeah.
But a game none of us have played, but I'm sure that we all are going to play, was the new Spider-Man that I mentioned before that Activision is making. I don't know if you guys either saw the premiere trailer, which they replayed at the E3. The premiere trailer happened at this year's E3. If you guys saw the trailer, or if you didn't, if you just heard about the game, what do you guys think about it? And what are your thoughts on it? And obviously, we're all going to get it. And what would you like to see in it? Starting with Lewis.
I mean, that's been one of the most anticipated games that I've been looking forward to since I heard about its release, just because I think most of us here played the original Spider-Man on PS1, and that was such an epic game for its time, and it seems like this title is definitely going to do that justice. The most recent Spider-Man to come out in theaters, they claim that this actor is the best Spider-Man yet. From the story within Spider-Man to the costume and everything. And it just seems like this game is extremely well done. One of the things that they did talk about at D3 was that when you make a Spider-Man game, the one thing you have to get right is the web slinging. And I remember when the Spider-Man movies came out with Tobey Maguire, I played one of the Spider-Man games that went along with the movie, and I just feel like they didn't get the web slinging mechanics right. But from the short video gameplay that I've seen from this one, it definitely looks like they have.
Yeah, I agree with you with that one.
When you were talking about the PS1 version, was that also the one that was ported onto Nintendo 64?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, making sure.
Yeah,
I didn't know. I actually didn't know it was ported onto the N64.
Yeah, it was ported onto the N64. But like, this is probably the best Spider-Man game since Spider-Man 2, the movie, like the movie tie-in game. Well, you know what I mean? The movie tie-in game with Spider-Man 2. And this
You
is-
cut out a little bit.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Yeah,
But,
you cut out for us too.
So Spider-Man 2, the movie, that was probably the last Spider-Man game that was actually really good. And this one seems like it's going to be another good Spider-Man game. Getting back to what Spider-Man should be in video games.
Yeah,
One
I agree
thing
with
I-
you, Sean.
Go
Sorry
ahead.
to cut you off, John. One thing I didn't really like is I didn't really recognize the villain. And Spider-Man has such a wide array of villains. And I watched the animated Spider-Man series growing up, basically from beginning to end. And I actually rewatched it a few years back. I didn't recognize the villains at all. And for a character like Spider-Man that, like I said, has
Lewis,
such
they
a-
did show
a
Wilson
villain
Fisk.
to
The
see them.
Kingpin, they did show him.
they showed the picture, but the one in the trailer that they showed, Mr.
Oh,
Negative or whatever
yeah.
his name is. Who that is.
Manny, what'd you think of it?
I mean, it looks really exciting. I'm really looking forward to the big ass city they showed on the trailer so far.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty dope.
So like,
I
I feel
am
like
too.
you can get really creative with like the web slinging and like the transportation and like the way you move around the big ass city.
Yeah,
So I'm
man, I
really
know you
looking
wanna
forward to
segue
that.
into that
Yeah,
GTA.
you know that.
Spider-Man GTA.
I wonder how much you can interact.
Oh,
I'm
like
really
the-
wondering how much you can interact with the NPCs and like everything else aside from like the villains and shit. But really looking forward to this game. Might even pre-order it.
And you could steal a car.
some,
I
And
mean, it'd be nice to see Spider-Man steal a
As
car.
plainclothes Peter Parker, you just take a dude out of his car and you start driving it around in New York City like you would in GTA.
GTA Spider-Man.
Damn right, run over Uncle Ben while you're at it.
Something I'm hoping for is I'm hoping that they have costume customizations actually, because I think that would be really cool to have.
Right.
And
Oh,
also,
so you pull in some of the classic costumes, is what you're saying?
or like classic or new ones or like whatever customizations
Or
that
do
you
you
can
want to
have.
be able to create your own custom costume?
Even that too. Like they could have preset classic ones or just customizations so that you can change it however you want. And also something else I think that they should include is kind of like what the Homecoming movie had, where he had settings of different webs. Like maybe they could have like like web grenades or like timed webs that shoot off after a certain amount of time, things like that.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah,
they
it's
could probably have it.
They probably
Yeah,
will.
they'll likely have it. I can't imagine this game being released without the new skins, without new costumes, without different types of webs.
I mean, it
I'd
is
be surprised
Insomniac
if they
too.
didn't have the different type of webs, because like Derek said, that was a feature that they showed off and called
That's
on
true.
during the Spider-Man Homecoming movie. He had, I think, over 200 different types of webs in the suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so one game we're all pretty familiar with, literally D23's only purpose, the reason for probably 60% of D23's viewers, was the Tetsuya Nomura, the man we all love to hate, was there, and he helped premiere the new Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer, and finally gave us all a tentative release date. We were wrong. We all thought it was coming out post 2050, and it's supposed to come out next year. So, first, what you guys think of the trailer, and what's one new feature you guys want to see? Starting with Manny.
So, unlike most of the people in this podcast, I really haven't played. I haven't beaten any of the games, but it looks really exciting. There's probably a lot of spoilers in the trailers. One thing I'm expecting, pretty much, I don't know. I'm pretty new to this franchise.
All right. So, John? Have you seen the new trailer yet?
I didn't see the most recent one at the D23 Expo, but I did see the original one that came out. I think there was one or two that we were all talking about previously, but I think it looks really
the
good.
Hercules World one.
Yeah, I think it looks really good. I'm pretty excited about it just because as you guys know, I don't really play the side story quests or anything like that. I just play like
Straight through.
KH1, KH2. Straight through, man, straight through. And, it looks pretty good. Obviously, we don't know exactly how the game is going to be, if it's going to be smooth. My main concern is that because it's been so long since the game has come out, like I'm just worried that in some way, shape, or form, they're going to do something to ruin it. I mean, I have no real basis for that, but I guess I was late to the games, and I played KH2 when I was a freshman in college. which wasn't that long ago. Whereas everybody else played it when they were like 14.
Yeah. We.
It was pretty far back.
It's 15-year anniversary for the Kingdom Hearts series, so the first one came out in 2002.
If you had told me the day I beat Cage 2 that Cage 3 was going to come out in 2018, I probably would have cried real tears.
Well, another thing, kind of going off what Bento said, the fact that it's taken them so long to get to this Kingdom Hearts, like there's a lot of hype, there's a lot of followers behind it, and because it's been so long, like any small detail that goes wrong is going to be blown up bigger than it should, probably bigger than it should be. But that's how I kind of see it, because it's been so long since the first one's come out and the second one that it's built up a lot of hype and could possibly let a lot of people down.
Yeah, I definitely see that. I definitely do see that. I think it's
How
just
about
like,
you, Sean?
there's just so much expectations, is what Derek was saying about this game, because we've been waiting for this since 2, basically. Since 2 ended, we were waiting for 3.
Hashtag 05.
Yeah, and then like building on Lewis's point, you told me that Kingdom Hearts 3 wasn't going to come out on PS3. I would have said you're lying. You're fucking lying.
Exactly.
It's like I wanted on PS. It's got to come out on PS3. They're not going to do this again. But you know, I'm excited. I'm excited to see how more of the layout of the worlds are, like the gummy ships and all that stuff. Like what they're going to do in between worlds and the getting to different worlds and basically the story behind it. Because hell, Kingdom Hearts is a confusing ass story anyway. So we don't even know the story. I don't even know the story, and I've played all the games.
It's basically like
You have. Exactly. I think my thoughts on it. Obviously, I love the trailer. I got pretty hyped when they said, "Okay, first we're going to start with a reveal of a brand new world," because I thought Toy Story was going to be in Kingdom Hearts 2. So for it to be in Cage 3 and for them to be working with Pixar, I feel it's going to be a pretty authentic story, and because of that, I feel like it's going to be amazing. Pixar rarely disappoints. So speaking of new world, what's one world? Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, one of the reasons you never saw Toy Story in any of the previous games was because they had never contracted with Pixar.
True.
If Toy Story was going to be in one of the previous iterations of the game, they would have announced the contract with Pixar, and that's what they did at D23, which is
but in that segment between 02 and 05 before 2 was released, I thought they'd do something with Pixar and release a Toy Story world. But anyway, it was super exciting to see. One thing Lewis said, that it was surprising after I thought about it a little. I guess I was just so excited to see the trailer. I noticed it, that the language of that it revealed in Japanese. It was revealed in Japanese. Did that bother any of you guys?
I mean,
Not
it kind
really.
of bugged me. It kind of bugged me just because Tetsuya Nomura said that it was available in English at the end of the expo, that they were gonna drop the trailers in multiple languages, which means it was available in English. If it was available in English, I think if you're showing it to a predominantly English-speaking audience, it should be in their dominant language. One thing that, going back to your previous question about what I'm excited for and what I'm looking forward to, I'll go quickly on this, is anytime I see a series jump from one platform to another, I'm always interested in how much of the handcuffs did they take off with all of the new technology that they have available to them, jumping from one console to another. Exactly. So from PS2 to PS3
to PS4.
But this one, that's what I'm saying. This one will go from PS2 to PS4.
Yeah, it's
because
a pretty big jump.
So exactly, it's a huge jump. So, excited about is how much of the handcuffs did they take off? How many of the game barriers are they going to remove from the world? Am I going to be able to go to a Kingdom Hearts world without having to go through all the annoying ass load screens that have been?
That's a good point. Yeah, how the world was just basically one small area, a whole bunch of little areas basically pieced together through different gateways. Are you just going to have one open world now? Which I assume you will. But speaking of worlds, obviously they dropped Toy Story. They reiterated that they were going to have Tangled, a Tangled world than they were going to have. I haven't watched this Disney film, The Hero Big Six, I believe it's called. That was also going to have its own world. So, speaking on that, what other Disney films or Disney projects would you guys like to be seen turned into a Kingdom Hearts world? Starting with Manny.
Well, I have a question first. What are the current worlds that they have in this new one that's coming up besides Toy Story?
I think they've just revealed
Tangled
Hercules,
and Big Hero.
And also
Hercules, Big Hero,
Yeah, Hercules.
Tangled, obviously Toy Story. So just those 4, I believe, have been revealed.
Oh, okay.
So Manny.
All right. So since Disney's embedded with the Pixar, I'd say Incredibles.
That's exactly what I said too. I really want an Incredibles world.
That would be pretty dope.
I think that would be pretty fun. You know.
Yeah, it's a pretty sick idea.
Superheroes and shit.
It's pretty dope.
Yeah, I think you can make some really cool stuff with an Incredibles Keyblade, with Sora having an Incredibles costume. You can make a lot of really cool
and on
stuff.
top of that, they're making the new Incredibles, I think, next year.
Exactly. Incredibles 2 is set to debut soon.
Finally.
Exactly.
Derek, do you have a world? Sorry, John.
Oh, well, go ahead, John.
No, that's exactly what I was going to say. I love the Incredibles movie, and I'd love to see how they could incorporate that somehow in the video game. That's really it. Manny kind of touched up on what I was going to say. Damn you, Manny.
Yeah, it is a pretty good choice, actually. I think I would pretty much choose the same one. Incredibles.
So none of us want a Frozen world? Or Moana?
I mean,
Maybe my niece, but not me.
Yeah.
I mean,
That could be a good way to attract the female gamers, though, like the little kids.
That's a good
I
point.
guess.
How about you, Lewis?
Lewis, do you have a world that is more that you want to see?
Or Sean, how about you go? Because I know
I'd like to see a Star Wars world. I think that'd be really dope.
that's a great one. That's
Yeah.
a great one.
Actually, yeah.
I was talking about that the other day because he.
Yeah, he sorry, Derek, you cut out, but it just meshes with it's just like the whole battle with light and dark with Star Wars and Kingdom Hearts.
That's
It just meshes so well together.
One of the worlds that I'm really looking forward to, just to go in a different direction other than The Incredibles, is a Disney movie that I always liked. I always thought it was awesome, and I haven't really seen much of it. Is The Emperor's New Groove. I think that could get, because it has a pretty defined villain. It gives a very comedic look compared to some of the other Disney movies, and I think it could have a pretty good world. One world that I always thought that they might make, but they never did, was Pocahontas, and that's because Pocahontas doesn't really have a defined villain, and it touches on some pretty.
And it'd be low key racist to have just English colonists.
Exactly.
English colonists.
Would Sora be a Native American, just show up shirtless and shit? That's exactly my point. Is why the Emperor's New Groove would be an awesome world, in my opinion.
Or
obviously, I think The Incredibles would be an amazing world. Obviously, I think The Incredibles would be an amazing world too. But I mean, there's so many different directions they could go, especially now that Pixar's involved. So a Monsters Inc. world.
Oh, that'd be dope.
That's true.
But you also have to remember that.
Nemo, I could definitely.
You have to remember that.
I don't want another water level.
I don't. An underwater world.
That's true.
They already have.
Hey, they could do a Finding Nemo, Little Mermaid combined world. Even though they've never
that would be interesting.
One thing to keep in mind, though, is to justify a world, they usually have to pair it with a Disney princess. Most of the time. I don't know how they're going to do that for Big Hero 6.
They said the Big Hero 6 world is going to feature most of the princesses, within it.
I mean,
don't forget that Square Enix is Japanese. They also have to remember. They also have to cater to their Japanese audience. And one thing most of these worlds have in common is that they're really, really big in Japan as well.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
I don't know how many Japanese people know about Pocahontas or other worlds we're thinking about. That's the thing.
One thing Lewis mentioned.
To know about the Emperor's New Groove by now.
one thing Lewis mentioned. One thing Lewis mentioned when we spoke about this yesterday, or when we spoke about it right after, a world. Obviously, since like Sean mentioned, Disney bought out Star Wars, so you can use the Star Wars licensing. They could also bought out Marvel, so they could have Marvel worlds, and I think that would be incredible. And that shows,
that would be a reach, a Marvel world where it would be like X-Men or something like that. That would be a reach, but I think they'd have to, just like they announced a third-party agreement with Pixar, they'd have to announce a third-party agreement to come into the game.
Have they ever done an Aladdin world?
Yes, they have in the first one and the second one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
all right,
I'm gonna add one more world.
Go ahead.
Which was a scrapped world in Birth by Sleep. What Jungle Book? The Jungle Book.
I thought about that. But
just like Finding Nemo to The Little Mermaid, the Jungle Book to Tarzan. That's the only reason. When I thought of worlds, I wanted to think of worlds that weren't similar to one that they already had.
Yeah.
True.
The Jungle Book is a great Disney story, but so is Finding Nemo. But they already have similar worlds.
Yeah, I'm just saying it was a scrapped world.
One thing that we didn't really get to see in the trailers were many of us. The developer of this game, Square Enix's characters from their past video games, like the Final Fantasy series. If you've watched any of Shawnee Funnyman streams on Twitch, one thing we've been debating in the past few of his streams have been our favorite Final Fantasy games. Quite a few of us are Final Fantasy nuts. We played at least 4 of them, the 4 primary ones. A lot of us, we'd like to argue about which one is the best. So I think next we're going to talk about any Final Fantasy characters from that haven't had a cameo in the Kingdom Hearts series. Any of the ones we'd now like to see debut in the Kingdom Hearts series. Manny, like you said, Lewis, you can go ahead with this one. I know you and Sean are huge nut huggers for Final Fantasy X, so I'm sure most of the Final Fantasy characters who have made cameos Hearts series do hail from that video game. So I'm not sure if you guys can even mention any characters that they haven't shown.
Yeah, that's true. I do love Final Fantasy X. I think Kimahri has, if I'm not remembering incorrectly,
it's his name.
Kimahri,
yeah.
No, Kimahri hasn't. I know that's his name. He hasn't made an appearance in Kingdom Hearts yet.
No, he hasn't.
No, he hasn't.
I think that would be a really cool Final Fantasy character. But just to switch it up, not one of the protagonists, but why can't Sora summon a summon from Final Fantasy? So,
true.
I mean, there's some summons that go across the Final Fantasy franchise that are
obviously
common in
I haven't
the games.
I haven't played the Kingdom Hearts game like full on out in about a year. When I last played Birth by Sleep, but aren't there items named after some of the? If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure there's an item named after Ifrit.
Yeah.
In Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, I know.
So accessory.
They got the items. They got the summon somehow.
Some of the weapons, right, might include summon names.
Yeah, that's like their cameo.
So Sean, what any cameos you want to see?
Zidane from Final Fantasy 9. I think he would be pretty cool. The monkey boy.
Yeah, I think he's the biggest one missing. I was going to mention him. He's probably the most prominent Final Fantasy character from 4 major ones that's missing.
Which one?
Yeah.
Zidane, the main character from Final Fantasy 9.
I think it'd be pretty cool to have in Kingdom Hearts.
Derek, how about you?
For a cameo in Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah.
Honestly, I never really played all the way through 7. But the one that I did like the most was probably Final Fantasy 8. So I think I'd like to see Squall. Although I hate that name.
He's in there.
He's been a pretty major character from Heart series.
Yeah.
So yeah,
you got to fight him.
He's been in there.
One.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they don't call him Squall in the.
Yeah, they call him Leon.
How about you, John? I know Final Fantasy X is pretty rough for you. John's gotten on you about that a lot.
Yeah, I try my best to just basically just plow through that game, learn the story, and take what I could get from it without doing anything extra, which Sean has given me quite the rage about. Hashtag rage quit rehab. Anyway,
taking advice from the walking strategy guy, that is Sean.
True.
It's my favorite, yeah.
But I did play Final Fantasy X, at least most of it. I would say that I don't know if I could relate to most of the characters. I did like Auron a lot. He's probably my favorite character in that game. Otherwise, Titus or Titus, however you want to say his name, he was pretty dope. I don't think he was. Some people love him or hate him. I don't love or hate him at all. I think he's like kind of in the middle. And Auron was my favorite in that game, but that's really it.
How about you, Manny? I know you stand by the fact that Final Fantasy IV is your favorite Final Fantasy. Any cameos
Yeah, it is.
from your short experience with Kingdom Hearts and the Kingdom Hearts series, any Final Fantasy characters that you would love to see in the Kingdom Hearts series, and we'll tell you whether or not they've already appeared in it?
Well, continuing with the theme of summons, why not Rydia from Final Fantasy IV?
That'd be cool.
She's a summoner in that game, yeah, why not?
Yeah, that's a good one.
I thought you
think
were going to say Kane.
For me, Final Fantasy...
if it's not Rydia, why not Kane or Cecil or Cecil, whatever you want to call him? Kane's a pretty cool guy in that game, so...
Kane's dope in that game, yeah.
Yeah, he is.
It's badass.
By far and away, besides Zidane, who I have no idea why he has not appeared in the Kingdom Hearts series, I think Vincent from Final Fantasy VII has to.
Yeah. I think he's like the missing piece of like that.
He's too badass of a character not to appear, because Zack was a huge fan favorite from 7, and he finally got his camp Birth by Sleep. I think Vincent won really, really bad, because he's a great character, and he's a huge fan favorite as well. But yeah, basically the entire Final Fantasy IX cast. I know we saw Vivi and Cage 2 make an appearance in Twilight Town, but the entire Final Fantasy cast, just they need to put more characters from that.
Has Zell ever appeared in a game?
I don't think
from
so.
Final Fantasy VIII? Because he seems like one that would fit right into Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like like I said this before, like Final Fantasy IV, with their whole battle of light and darkness, falls into what Kingdom Hearts is. So I don't know why more characters from Final Fantasy IV haven't been in there.
That's true. That's a good point. Aldebert Steiner, really annoying character in Final Fantasy IX. I think he also deserves some mention. He should make an appearance in it. But yeah, like I said, the entire Final Fantasy IX cast needs to be better represented in Kingdom Hearts series.
Do you think it has anything to do with that they're like little humans?
No, because 9 was just a polygonal world that had little humans, and they were able to transition them into full-size humans.
Yeah.
Wait, 9? Sorry,
8. 7. I meant 7. Sorry.
Yeah, but like you also had the base characters when you went into fight, like when you went into battle. But like it's hard to like from 9 to design them better in Kingdom Hearts, like in the Kingdom Hearts world.
And in the 7 cutscenes, weren't they actual size humans in 7?
No. Only during battles.
They were still tiny.
In 7?
Yeah, they were still kind of. They were
well, it
still
depends.
Kind of,
The CG
They were kind of tiny in
cutscenes.
7.
I know that during actual gameplay they were tiny humans, but during the cutscenes, didn't they make them actual size humans?
I thought it was just during CG cutscenes.
I mean, as good as their technology
sure
allows
it's
During what Gabe and I used to call the good graphic cutscenes.
Yeah, CG cutscenes. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Didn't they show them as actual size humans?
Yeah.
Yeah. But 9, even during their CG cutscenes, 9, they were still miniature humans.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to say. It's kind of hard to translate that to Kingdom Hearts. Even
How
though,
about any 12
Vivi
fits right in. Yeah, as like a tiny little magician dude that you could fight.
And he's only 6.
How about any Final Fantasy 12 characters? Fran? Anyone?
No, they all suck.
I like Final Fantasy 12. I played it years ago, but I really liked it.
It's not a bad
What did you
game.
like in it?
I really like the different battle system. Instead of having turn-based, like having the little the little timer bar for you to be able to attack. I really like that a lot.
Yeah, that was a good. But a lot of people really like the classic turn.
Do you think FF15 characters are going to make their debut in Cage 3?
Who?
Final Fantasy
FF15.
racing characters.
Yeah,
The newest-
Yeah,
I mean-
I think they'll definitely put a character from that game. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, they're good
Probably.
characters.
Speaking of, why not have a Final Fantasy world? I mean, if you already have the contract agreements to include Final Fantasy
what do you mean,
characters.
Lewis?
It's too big though. Like the franchise is huge.
And because
Yeah, so you take one of the
characters-
Final Fantasies and you put their world in it, and you make it a world in Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah,
I
you're
think
gonna
that's
piss
already
off a
too
lot
late.
of fans
Yeah,
though.
I think that's already too late because the point is that these Final Fantasy characters live in different worlds in Kingdom Hearts. That's the entire point of it. Like
They all live in
That
Radiant
he was
Garden.
in.
That's
Didn't
true.
Leon say that he was in Traverse Town?
a few of them live in Twilight Town as well.
No.
Didn't Leon say that he was in Traverse Town and he says that he came from a different world?
Yeah. It was
Yes.
it was Radiant Gardens. You find that out in 2. That's their home.
Yeah, you're actually right. Now that I remember that, because it's been over a decade since I last played too.
So, so that's that.
All right, so our next segment, a pretty consistent segment throughout the entire podcast, but we're gonna we haven't made up a name for it. Probably calling it the funny review for now. So Sean, the funny man Robinson,
I'll give my thoughts
gonna-
about a game.
he's gonna give his thoughts about a game, and then at the end he's gonna give it a certain amount of funnies, which are gonna be our reviewing unit. Out of 10. So Sean, take it away with the Crash Bandicoot trilogy that was just recently released. Give us your thoughts.
So the Crash Bandicoot Ensign trilogy, I mean, it's a good game. They're good games. They're worth the money. It's $40. You get 3 games. They're classic games. They're the same thing. I mean, these are probably one of the better. These are the better versions to play the game because the graphics are a little better, and they're just the same thing. They're just the same games that they were. I mean, they're all that's it. And my only complaint about it so far is that the jumping mechanic's a little off, but that you get used to it after a while. So I guess my funny rating would be
Sean, why don't you wait to give it your funny rating so that the other people who
Oh yeah,
played the game
you guys can chime in. I was
the podcast
waiting.
can also chime in.
Yeah, so the guy,
I was
there
waiting.
are only
And
3 of
John
us.
have both played the game.
Yeah, like Lewis said, there have only been 3 of us out of the entire podcast. Sean and
Something
John.
something really good about it I like is nowadays I feel like a lot of across lots of different consoles kind of carry you along. Like they kind of take your hand and say go. Everything's a lot. I feel in this day and age for games, and I feel like they give you a lot of things. And in like the remake of Crash, I don't feel like they did that at all. The little bit that I did play from it, I found it to be as difficult, if not more difficult than it was back then. So that's definitely something that I like. If you're interested in more of a challenge, I guess, after having been used to for so many years now of games basically holding your hand along the way.
Yeah, just to segue off of what Derek was saying, I do find it really fun. I played it mainly a couple days ago, and I haven't played it since, but I was basically binging it. It was pretty fun. Like Sean said, there are some issues with the jumping. It almost seems like you try to land on something and you're perfect, but for some reason it just kind of glitches. But otherwise, it's really fun. I feel like it's really smooth, especially the levels that you're riding on some animal or you're running away from one of the rolling boulders. Overall, it's really fun, and I think that it does justice to the classic games. The details in the graphics are really good too. So if you're into the aesthetic looks, it's definitely something that someone who's played the older games really takes notice of right away. And overall, it's just really fun.
Yeah,
And also, it's really rage worthy too. So if you're,
I raged on
You
live
know.
stream before.
If
'cause
you
of that.
watch the Funny Man stream, you'll know how much rage it induces.
Yes, it does.
and
That's why you
especially-
come to Rage Quit Rehab.
It's also
Right.
it's also
Hey.
I feel like Crash you need to build up a lot more momentum, and sometimes your momentum doesn't take you as far. What I'm thinking about when I take a jump, like I don't know if I've died on the first level because I thought I'm gonna jump off this hill and I'm gonna go farther than I did because I was used to it
down on
going
the
farther.
first level.
Yeah.
Do you guys think it's a game that, let's say, because when Gabe and I used to get babysat by one of our aunts or a close family friend, son had Crash Bandicoot as a video game, and that's one of the games that I remember Gabe and I could just pick up and play. And we'd have fun, and no matter where he was in the game, we would just pick it up, instantly learn how to play right away, and then you could just have fun.
Yeah, so it was a user-friendly.
it's the same thing.
For sure.
A game that you could do that with?
Yeah,
For sure.
They didn't change any of the
100%.
mechanics or anything or any of the controls.
That's good.
So like
Yeah,
you pick up and just play.
Yeah, like whether you're someone who's playing it for the first time or someone who hasn't played it in 10 years, like it's all it takes is a couple of tries and you basically start to get a feel for it. It's pretty smooth, like I said, and it translates well.
All
Yeah,
right,
it
so
does.
all in all, how many funnies are you going to give it, funny man?
I'm gonna give it 8 funnies out of 10.
Damn, it's pretty solid.
Nice.
I mean,
pretty
it's
good.
the same
Would
thing.
you guys agree with that final verdict?
Yeah, well, the thing with the jumping, I think they could easily release a patch because nowadays there's always a patch with games that come out, so they can probably patch that out. I think.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
just as good as the
I agree.
originals, so that's why.
All right, so that was our first review. Again, we're going to be reviewing games. We're going to try and keep it a consistent segment. As you'll see, we'll obviously interject a little bit if other of us have played the games. But our main two reviewers are probably going to be Sean and Derek for games in general, just because they usually play the most up to date games. Lewis and I are probably, and John somewhat, were probably the main ones on the podcast host list that are really into sports video games. So next month, obviously August is a huge month for EA Sports. FIFA and Madden always drop. So Lewis and I will be bringing those reviews to you probably about like the day or two after they come
FIFA
out.
drops in September.
Oh, sorry, you're right. FIFA drops in late September with the start of the Premier League. But yeah, that August-September period is a huge period for EA Sports. So we'll bring those out to you. I'm planning on getting NBA 2K this year, so we can review that as well. First-person shooters, I suck absolute ass at them. So for those, you'll probably get the reviews from Derek and Manny, and sometimes John. I know John plays first-person shooters sometimes. But yeah, that's mainly going to be our reviewing board. Again, we'll try and keep it consistent as a consistent part of the podcast. But another segment we're going to try and keep as a consistent part of the podcast is a game we're currently playing. Again, we said we're going to come out with episodes as of right now every 2 weeks. So for the next 2 weeks, let's go around and let's say what game we're currently playing, what we're currently doing in it, and a game we would like to play next, starting with Manny.
So a game I'm currently playing right now is Final Fantasy X because my colleagues here swear on their lives that that's the best game ever made on Earth. So
True.
I'm here just to see what the hype's about. Aside from that awesome game, I'm also playing Nier Automata because everyone else is hype about it, and it's pretty good so far. And I'm not sure what game I'm looking forward to next because these two games are pretty lengthy as is.
So yeah,
All right, Bento.
So right now, I'm playing a couple games as we talked about. I'm playing Crash. I'm also playing The Last of Us, which is really fun, mega creepy at times. I'm currently stuck on a level that I'm trying to walk through in the dark with a flashlight that likes to go out on me like every 2 seconds. So overall, that's a really fun game. I don't know if anybody here has played The Last of Us yet, or it's an older game, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a few years old, but it's already being viewed as one of the best games of all time. Like up there.
Yeah, I've heard very good things about it. I guess maybe that's the game I want to try next.
That new zombie game that they're making, I don't remember what it's called. It's pretty good. It's not The Last of Us. I don't know if you guys saw it. They announced it at E3.
What, Outlast?
yeah.
I don't know what it's called. It looks
I
pretty
remember
dope.
we watched the trailer. We watched it together. That one.
Is it Days Gone?
Maybe it's Days Gone, I think.
Where like they show
game
like
are you currently
tons of
playing,
zombies, and there was like a
Yeah, yeah,
bear
yeah,
zombie.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think it's that one.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's the one.
I think it's Days Gone.
Wait,
Yep.
what game are you currently playing, Derek?
Well, I'm playing a few. Right now, Smash Bros. for Wii U, and I'm pretty
Always.
disappointed. Yeah, I'm pretty disappointed that they haven't released it for Switch yet, but I guess I can understand it. I've also been playing Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. I'm still like playing that off and on because there's so much that you can do and a lot of side quests. But I definitely think that's a really, really great game. So if you haven't played it, you should. And in my free time, I play. Well, in the little free time I play X-Men Legends also. But that game's pretty old. I'm actually hoping to do.
Great game.
Yeah, I'm hoping to do a remake because I kind of see now like it's geared towards single players a lot, the games nowadays, and not really into co-op stuff. But I've always been into co-op since I have a pretty extensive family. So I think they should definitely make a remake for that.
Yeah, that was one
Absolutely.
of Gabe and I's favorite games. And just real quick, the D3 Expo, they showed some VR technology where they showed so it was actually some Marvel characters. So it was the Hulk.
It was an
actually
Avengers one.
from
Oh.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Bef-
Yeah, it was an Avengers thing, and it was actually a 4-person co-op.
Before I
They were
forget,
playing-
also, if you guys have a PS4, I'm pretty sure that they have the game. I think it's called Marvel Omega. I think it's free on PS4 Plus if you have it, and you can download that. And it's pretty much the same as X-Men Legends. So actually, if you guys wanted to download it and play it,
I gotta check that out then.
Definitely check that out.
Yeah, so I guess what I'm playing, what I'm streaming is Kingdom Hearts 2. I'll be streaming Kingdom Hearts 2. So I'm trying to get the platinum trophy. As I said in the beginning of the podcast, I do try to get platinum trophies whatever I'm playing. I'm also playing Crash, the Unseen Trilogy, trying to get the platinums in those games. I'm also looking forward to playing Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm looking forward to that. I think that seems like a really good game.
That looks really good.
Yeah, I just want to check it out. And there's some
Yeah, that
DLC
was
that I want to
Basically,
get.
Sony's top game at E3 was Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yo.
So that's-
Nice.
That's mine.
Lewis, what are you currently playing?
So I'm not during my free time. Gabe and I share a franchise in MLB 17 The Show that we bounce back and forth from each other on the PlayStation Cloud. That's basically the game that takes up a lot of my free time. We're still trying to get, for anyone who plays that game, we're still trying to get the sliders down to be consistent. Shout out to Mike Lowe and OS Full Miners. But that's what's taking up a lot of my time.
Always got to give a shout out to OS Full Miners. Work those guys do for free of pay just for the purpose of the MLB The Show community has to be recognized. They finally got recognized nationally on a national scale for this one. If you guys don't know, they're about over 250 players or so in that they make from the minor leagues. They go in, they create realistic stats. They obviously create realistic minor league avatars because the game does not have licensing to the Minor League Players Association, therefore they cannot release those 250 said players with the video game. So these guys go in there, they edit all their fake people and turn them into real people just for the community's sake, just so you can have more realistic franchise. So just wanted to give those guys a shout out. But a game I'm currently playing is as you guys all know, my friends make fun of me a lot. Lewis and I are trying to do just a little run through the entire Pokemon series. Hopefully,
Oh, God.
leading up to
2 years.
the Pokemon RPG on Switch. Yeah, probably be with. But I've been on Soul Silver, stuck on Soul Silver for a while. Not stuck. I just don't play it often.
Stuck sounds about right though.
So
when he says doesn't play often, it means never.
yeah, so I
You
pick it up
understand,
every
he-
now and then.
He hates trading.
Yeah, I don't have time to grind, sit there and grind. I
You
don't.
have to- what?
It's the fun of Pokemon.
Sit and grind. Like you literally, they basically baby feed you now. Like they give you EXP share that works for everybody.
Yeah, but
That's different.
not in Soul Silver.
That's
Not
in
in
Soul
yeah,
Silver.
that wasn't in Soul Silver. That got introduced in Black and White, and then got carried into Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
That makes it super fucking easy.
I do have the 16 badges. I am right before the Kanto Elite Four.
Oh,
Grind a bit with my Pokemon and then move on to Alpha Sapphire because Lewis and I are trying to play the games in order. We started with Leaf Green, Fire Red, moved on to Soul Silver, Heart Gold, then Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, so on and so on. We're trying to play in the order that Ash visited them. Hopefully, again, like I said, leading up into the huge, long-awaited RPG on an actual console. So I think next episode we'll talk about what we hope to find out of those. But for now, we'll move on to our last segment, which is just current events. We're going to talk about current events in the video game world. Sorry, it's our second to last segment. Our last segment will be always trying to review the Game of Thrones episodes, since we know that's a huge part of nerd culture. But for now, we got a few current events we want to talk about. I guess I'll just list all of them out, and we could just comment on the ones. We can each comment on one. Just sort of, Lewis mentioned one of them already, which was a virtual reality game that they showed for Avengers virtual reality. Dragon Ball Z, the Evo Expo, for the fighting game tournament. They showed a huge fight between two players, which it was a mirror fight, so each player got the same characters. They each had Super Saiyan Vegeta, Frieza, and Final Form Cell. Comment on that. Disneyland, Disney World are also adding a Star Wars, and childhood favorite RuneScape is going mobile. And then some lady, just commenting because Game of Thrones is big right now, decided to make a direwolf dog breed. It ended up being called the American Elastane. I think I'm pronouncing that correct. So we could comment on that, possible prices of the puppies for those breeds. So I guess we'll start with Lewis. Which one are you going to comment on?
Lewis, you're
Panty dropper. So the event that I focus. Sorry about that, guys. The event I focus on, which is one that I think a lot of us have experience with, would just be the Dragon Ball Fighter Z Evo. That one, I think a lot of us have a pretty strong opinion on that video and just that gameplay. For me personally, and I know that this opinion is shared by a lot of my friends, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3, the last iteration of the Tenkaichi game on the PS2, was the best Dragon Ball Z fighting game, and actually one of the best fighting games, period, that I've ever played. For them to go away from open world combat in Dragon Ball Z, to me, is just a huge disappointment. And I know that Manny will say that 2D is in right now, and that's what they wanted to focus on. But for me personally, that's just a huge disappointment. But I'll pass to the mic along.
No, I actually completely agree with that. For me, it was really disappointing. Like, granted, the artwork in the new one looks pretty dope. I like it, but still, I think with Dragon Ball Z, I feel like it would be tons better if it were an open world kind of thing, just like Budokai Tenkaichi 3. Because honestly, I spent countless hours playing that game because it was fun to like just sometimes to even just fly in the worlds, but to make it 2D, it's like, I don't know. I feel like we have enough. For sure.
Yeah. I just think like it's just another clone of Marvel vs. Capcom.
Exactly.
And I mean it looks good. Like I liked all the characters and everything, but I just think they're just trying to copy that battle style, and I don't know, it could be really good or it could be a flop.
Agreed.
But I mean, that's what they're aiming for, because the big competitive fighting games, what the hell, are are like that, like 2D, and like they want to get in this game, like this. They want to make money off this game. Obviously, I guess we were considered a niche community or whatever you want to call it, a really small community that like the 3D games. But they want to go into tournaments. They want to maybe go into esports, I guess. Yeah. That's why they chose the 2D. And it makes sense, though. Like, they're a company that's trying to make money as well.
I don't mind the 2D.
That's a good point. As Manny said, I think their main goal with this game was to go to esports. I know a lot of huge fighting game heads. If you do hear that We loved the last rendition of the Budokai series on PlayStation 2, which was Budokai Tenkaichi 3. A lot of fighting heads are pissed because usually games that have such a massive library of characters sacrifice character originality. A lot of the characters are just the same character with skins. So I think that's what they want to do with this new DBZ game is they want to keep it 2D and they want it just so it can be like other fighting games, which are played professionally on esports, and they want to keep it so each character feels vastly different from another character. And
John, quick, sorry, Gabe, real quick, just because I don't think you've played a lot of the past Dragon Ball Z fighting games, but you are a Dragon Ball Z fan and you've watched the series. For someone who really doesn't have much skin in the fight, what would you prefer? And I don't know how many fighting games you've played in the past, but what would you prefer to see for a Dragon Ball Z game? Would you want it to be 2D, or would you like a more open world concept?
In terms of the fighting, I actually just watched the video while you guys were talking about it because I've never seen the trailer before, but it looks really good the way it is. I think that the 3D world, like the open map, like you're saying, it sounds really fascinating. I'm just having trouble envisioning that, like a fighting style like that where you and making it look good at the same time.
It was great.
Yeah, it was actually pretty good.
Oh, okay. Well, then.
I wasn't
I'd
impressed.
love to see it brought back.
But yeah, I think one plays to, I guess, just the children in us, and then the other one plays to professional gamers who want very diverse combos, who want very intricate gameplay, who just basically turn this into a Dragon Ball Z version of Tekken or of Smash Bros. Derek, as someone who frequents tournaments for fighting games because you are extremely good at Smash Bros. Again, if a new Smash Bros. Ever does come out, Derek will 100% be the reviewer on that one. If you guys didn't know, Derek is a huge Smash Bros. Player. That's what he does a lot outside of med school. So what do you think as a fighting game fan? How do you think this could measure up and possibly compete with games like Smash Bros?
Well, honestly, a lot of the fights are basically like that, like 2D. For example, Injustice 2 is really huge. Injustice was huge, and that's a 2D fighter. Then they have Marvel vs. Capcom, which is a 2D fighter. Smash Bros, which it's not really a 2D fighter, but it follows the same kind of mechanic, I guess. I don't know. But a lot of the fighting games, I feel, geared towards that, just because, in my opinion, I actually haven't really played too many 2D fighter games in tournaments or anything, but I feel like they have set combos and different memorizations that you have to do, and that appeals to a lot of people for some reason. For me, I don't like it. I don't like memorizing memorizing just set combos or anything, but I think that has a pretty big play in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's just it appeals to different crowds, and basically they're two different completely genres of game. Even though they both fall under the fighting game umbrella, Tenkaichi does something completely different from this new Dragon Ball Z game that we're going to see.
Well, something else I wanted to add to that too is
go ahead.
Also doing it that way because once you are someone who plays games like that, like Mortal Kombat, Justice, Marvel vs. Capcom, it's easy to transition from one of those games onto this game. And so I think that kind of gives them a set, like an audience. It gives them an audience already. That way they don't have to look for a new audience. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely agree. Again, like man said, this is probably just at the end of the day is a money grab, playing off our nostalgia. I think Hollywood and just Uncle Sam, not Uncle Sam, but I think Big Brother in general is playing off all of our nostalgia with everything. Everything's being thrown back at us.
Yeah, I think we can discuss that more in a
later episode.
Yeah, later episode about how everything's just being thrown at us. There's no new IPs.
Exactly, everything's being thrown right back at us, and we're buying it because we miss it.
Yeah.
So guys,
shout out to my nigga Sean buying shit.
Sean will buy people water comes out.
Kingdom Hearts 2.95.
Yo, it's canon.
Well,
I gotta get it.
All right, so guys, we're gonna do a quick closeout. Just a quick recap about what we talked about. Just gave our reactions to D23, what we hope to see in KH. Spoke a bit. I hope you guys got to know us a bit more regarding our Final Fantasy love. Crash Bandicoot, the new game, got 8 funnies out of 10. And we talked a bit about the new DBZ game that's supposed to be out. I read one of the YouTube commenters' comments, and I completely agree with them. How the fuck are these guys so good at the game and it's not even out yet? I think that's
It's
a little
the developers.
yeah, it's coming out in 2018. But we'll have more to talk about in the next episode, guys. We hope we got any download listens. If you stuck around for the entire hour, thank you. We hope you liked it. Obviously, as the episodes progress, we'll get a bit more organized, hopefully a bit better quality, so we can keep bringing it out to you guys on a consistent basis. If any of you guys have any closing statements,
I'll be less nervous next time.
Sean, how about you give them a plug for your streaming, Sean?
All right, you can find me. I stream Monday through Thursday from 5:30 Standard Eastern Time to about like 9 or 9:30. I usually just play games that I'm currently playing and trying to platinum. So if you want to find me over there, it's twitch.tv/ShawneeFunnyMan. That's how you find me there.
Nice. Derek, you don't stream, do you?
No, I don't stream. I don't have a nice enough camera or mic for that. So sad.
And your
Anyone
dogs
else
would probably
have
be
any closing
annoying ass.
Yeah, they would. They bark at shadows that cross under the door. So
All right, guys. So again, let's just give a quick reintroduction to close it out. I'm Gabe. Like I mentioned before, I'm in med school, but I do play a lot of games on my time off. And let's go on with Manny.
I'm Manny. I'm also a med student. I like to play video games as well. Long walks on the beach. And I support my friend Sean in his quest to become the platinum panty dropper.
Panty dropper, funny man.
Hell yeah.
Manny, I honestly thought you were gonna say I'm Manny, and yeah.
Basically what he did for his first intro.
All right, guys. In case you want to find Benzo, I'm sure he basically gave out his passport number at the intro. So you guys, you identity thieves got a free Christmas present. Maybe Rage Quit Rehab.
Yo, my social security card number and credit card number are.
Oh, for sure.
All right, guys. So thanks for listening. That was episode 1. We'll bring episode 2 out maybe within 2 weeks.